If you call in and donate, your donation immediately becomes twice the amount, thanks to those wonderful donors who give us those because they believe in this mission. We believe in this mission. We know that since you're listening, you do too. Call 785-621-4110. Some of the gifts that we're giving away for this carathon, if you give $250 or more, you get a rechargeable carabiner flashlight. There we go. We'll get the tongue moving. And you will also be entered into a drawing for one of the following prizes. A Bose portable smart speaker donated by Dave and Janet Schmidt. They're the owners of Dave's Auto Repair in Hayes. Then we have 2 sets of 5 custom embroidered hand towels donated by John and Lisa Flynn. They're the owners of Gone Logo. And so there will be 1 set for each person for that drawing. Well, you'll get a chance at one of those 2 sets. And then there is one of those beautiful handmade ladder rosaries donated by Dora Liker in Mundra. As I said yesterday, this is the rosary that I use every day. It is a wonderful rosary. They hold up. They're beautiful. It's a wonderful gift. There's a $100 gift certificate to Hickok Steakhouse donated by Oscar Runyon, Greg Whitehair, and Damon Hoare, and they are the owners here in Hayes. Also, because meat prices are so high, this is another one of those amazing gifts. We have a meat bundle donated by Dean and Julie Hazelhorst from Gorham. If you give $500 or more, you will be entered into that drawing for those prizes. You'll receive that flashlight. You'll also get a 60-second spot celebrating pretty much anything you want. A loved one's birthday, an anniversary, a baptism, an anniversary of a death, a wedding, a graduation. If you can think of it, we can probably help you make it happen. If you give $1,000 or more, it's everything that I already said. Plus, you'll receive a 1200 lumen metal flashlight with rechargeable battery. You'll also receive 2 tickets to the annual banquet, which will be held Saturday, September 13th in Hayes. And our guest speaker will be the host of Catholic Connections, Teresa Tomeo. However you are listening now, remember, you can take us with you no matter where you go. So we are on our radio stations here in Hayes, in Lindsborg, in Salina, in Great Bend, in Colby, in Hill City. So that is a blessing that the good Lord has taken us that far. So if you're listening there, thank you so very much. You can also listen live at dvmercy.com and click on the listen live. So even if you're at work and your boss allows you to, or if you're the boss at work, go ahead and pull that up, click listen live, and you can listen to us and the wonderful interviews that we'll have all day long at dvmercy.com. You can also download the smartphone app and by simply typing in Divine Mercy Radio in your app or Play Store. Finally, not finally, but one of the last ways that you can listen is by connecting to your Amazon Alexa. All you have to do is say, Alexa, enable the Divine Mercy Radio skill, and then you say for which station you want. So for Hayes, we would say KMDG. And then after you have done that, all you have to do to bring it back up is say, Alexa, play Divine Mercy Radio KMDG, and it should start playing the station for you. Now, finally, we are live on Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. And we are very, very thankful that Michael takes care of that, gets us running, and gets us going. So you can take us no matter where you go. You can find us, and please do so. Please continue to listen. Please call in and donate now at 785-621-4110 to our Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. Let's get all those matching funds used up. 785-621-4110. All right. We are blessed to have Lester and Donetta Robben in here with us, and I'm going to see if one of them wants to read the trivia question. All right. Lester is going to go ahead and read our first trivia question. So remember, 785-621-4110. Get your phone
here's the
ready.
7 a.m. First question. Who is the minister of the sacrament of matrimony? Is it A, the deacon, B, a priest, C, bishop, or D, the couple? Again, who is the minister of the sacrament of matrimony? Is it A, deacon, B, priest, C, bishop, or D, the couple?
Call 785-621-4110. If you get that right, we will put your name into a drawing for a $50 gift certificate to Messenger, Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts here in Hayes. Jerome and Angela Schmeidler are the owners. And that is actually a very wonderful question. I think some people are going to be surprised at this. 785-621-4110. All right, without further ado, we are blessed to have Lester and Donetta Robben in here. They recently celebrated 50 years of marriage. Fantastic. 50 years. She put up with you for that long.
She's a good woman.
I think just about every man is married to a
got me
saint.
trained.
Are you sure? I mean, there's not she can teach this old dog some new tricks, and that is absolutely wonderful. When was that?
It's September 13th.
September. Okay. Yeah, that was recently. Fantastic. And so at the young ages of 18 and 20, they committed their lives to one another before God in the sacrament of marriage. Lester is a retired letter carrier for the United States Post Office. They are the founders of this Divine Mercy Radio, where Lester serves as president of the board of directors and Donetta serves as the past executive director and continues as the board's secretary. It's wonderful to have you in here. Thank you both for getting this started, saying yes to the Lord and going, well, it's going to be a crazy ride, but let's see where we go.
That's exactly the way it was.
Yeah.
Well, today we got you in here, and it's really a great topic because of some of your introduction here. We're going to be talking about marriage and shining the light in marriage. And so what a wonderful gift we have to be able to be here with you guys and talk about, 50 years of marriage and the ups, the downs, and whatever he does wrong.
Advice for young people.
Very good.
Yeah.
So maybe the first thing we ought to do is when we just start talking about marriage itself, and when we're at the altar, when we are proclaiming I do to the other person, what are we really saying there? What are we meaning? What is the intention behind that?
Go ahead, Darren.
Basically, one of the things with that, it's when you declare your consent, I guess is the way it is. There can't be any impediments. You can't be drinking before,
Yeah.
You can't have a mail order bride, and it has to be two members of the opposite sex, and you must be able to consummate the marriage. So that's one of the things.
Kind of the basic rules to get
One of the-
started, to
one
make
of
you
them.
eligible, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
And then-
requirements there.
And then there's did you want to add anything to that?
No, that's pretty well does it. I mean, I've stood up in some weddings that, there was a lot of heavy alcohol flowing before the ceremony, and it's not good.
Yeah.
We were, who was a couple that got married in the
George Tillman.
George Tillman?
George and Carmen Tillman.
No, I was thinking of somebody that the priest said the night before about.
Kristen and Nick.
Yeah, Kristen and Nick. You want to tell that? We
Yeah,
talked to Kristen about this.
I talked to Kristen. I said, "Can I use this?"
Okay.
The night before it was at their rehearsal, and Father Ryan McCandless was their priest for this, and he told them, "There's no drinking tonight. If you drink tonight, I'm not going to marry you tomorrow."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He
Good.
said, because even the night before, you have to come to the altar completely, prepared,
Aware of what you're doing.
aware of what you're
Yeah.
doing, because any impediment like that, just like you got drunk the night before or drank maybe a little too much, could be an impediment and a cause for an annulment later down the road, and he won't marry anybody he thinks isn't prepared. So
No, that is really fantastic because
I really like that he said that, because it's like in our day, that was a normal thing to drink.
Oh, yeah.
Before
After rehearsal dinner, then your whole party was there, so you went out and had a good time,
Yeah. No, that is very great. I'm glad that you bring that up because, we do see a lot of, anybody can look out there and look at the statistics and see that, there's around a 45 or 50% divorce rate anymore. And even among Catholics, it's not great. And part of that is because some of it is due to just bad catechesis. Obviously, people aren't ready because, as you said, they're not coming to the altar properly prepared. And so that is a very awesome thing. I think very important thing to help people understand that when you come here, this is a lifelong commitment.
Exactly.
There's no back
This
door.
is serious.
Yes. I want to take a really quick break because I want to congratulate Timothy Schward. Timothy is our winner of our trivia question this morning. That question was, who is the minister of the sacrament of matrimony? And this is the couple themselves. The priest is the official witness on behalf of the church. But yeah, the couples themselves, they are the ones that administer this sacrament upon each other. So what a beautiful thing as we get rolling into this topic. Also, I want to just update everybody that Tuesday's interviews will be up on YouTube by the end of this morning. So those interviews that we've done the last couple days, they're going to start getting uploaded here soon. So if you missed something, go back and watch it. You're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. We do have our Carathon goal of $125,000. You have all been doing a wonderful job to help us chip away at that. Let's use up our matching funds today. Call 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110, and help us to continue putting the gospel message out there. We are in with Lester and Donetta Robben, talking about shining the light in marriage. All right, so properly preparing for the wedding day in and of itself. Did we have anything else we want to add to that?
The other part of your consent is that you're going to love and honor each other till the and that works until you have the first money fight. And then it's like, oh yeah, we did say that.
No marriage is perfect. You have to have we always say you have to have fighting rules.
That's a good idea.
Wait, you said rules of engagement.
Well, it's rules of engagement. I mean, you get engaged, and then after marriage, you have to have rules of engagement for.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah.
And one of my things, I was 18, so just, and we weren't really prepared. I hope they're prepared.
Yeah,
young people are prepared a little better today.
I think the marriage prep is much better today than it was when we went through it. I remember when we went through it, and our priest, when he came to the part on sexuality and stuff, he just put a tape in and left the room.
Oh boy!
And there were like 5 couples, and we were just kind of all looking at each other and kind of chuckled a little.
So we just talked while the tape was going.
Yeah,
it wasn't very good.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm so glad that you bring that up, because yes, the marriage prep process definitely, I think, is one of those things that's so important, because there are a lot of people that come in, and you do find a lot of couples that are already living together.
That's common now.
And luckily, we have priests that are, well, you're going to need to move apart. This is a state of sin that you're living in. And that's a terrible prep for your marriage, to be living in sin, to prepare for your marriage, and people may not want to hear it, but it's the truth. And so that's one of those things, but also just the depth that you're able to go into the marriage prep, which are some things that I know that you guys have seen over your lifetime and understood and been like, wow, yeah, that's so important, and so even when it does come to a lot of people don't understand the teachings on human sexuality, why that may be important, on contraception. And I know, Donetta, you've done a lot on that in your past too, and just the harms that it creates, not just physically, but spiritually within your marriage. Before you're even married, you're training yourself to not be able to say no.
Right.
That's
exactly
right. Yeah.
And, the couples just don't understand. They think they have to live together to see if this is going to work out. You're blowing it for yourselves, because when you first get married and you're moving your stuff in together and you're putting your wedding presents away and your honeymoon is all new, and, as a couple, it's so exciting. But when you've already done that other stuff is just like meaningless. It's not fun. I guess.
One wedding we went to, I won't say who it was, but this couple had been living together for probably a couple of years, whatever. And at the end of the night, after the dance and everything was over, and we overheard them talking, there was a group of them, and they said, well, what do we do now? And it's like, I thought that we looked at each other. It's like, how sad that is.
Yeah.
That, we got married and we knew what was next, We didn't have to ask the crowd, well, what are we going to do now? It was sad. I just thought that was terrible.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, because that is one of those things. And what we're not saying is that if you're listening to this, you're living together, obviously there are ways to remedy that.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah.
And it will make it new. If you
Exactly.
split and
Yeah.
you have that longing for each other, when you get married, it'll be like new.
Yes.
Mhm.
And that'll be such a blessing to the marriage if that's what God's calling you to. But on the other hand, so glad that we're talking about this, because you're exactly right. I've heard the exact same thing that, well, we've already done everything else. And so now if our friends go home, we're just like, what are we in? Well, I guess we go back to the same home we've been in
another
and fall
Saturday
asleep.
night. Just another
Yeah.
Saturday night.
You know, yeah. So
Yeah.
it does rob the wedding day of
Exactly.
its beauty and its specialness. And so
Yeah.
that is really important to know. You know, so something I want to kind of jump back into then is, even when we're at the altar and we are proclaiming our vows. I don't know, Donetta, if you wrote some of this down, what the priest is asking the couple before they even, as they're getting ready to get married, the questions that the priest is asking. Do you have any of insight into that?
Well, that's kind of the consent,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Because you have to consent before you actually exchange vows.
Yeah.
And so that was, do you come here freely and without coercion,
Coercion. Yeah.
and wholeheartedly, and do you love each other? Will you love each other until death do you part? And will you accept and raise children lovingly from God?
Yes.
Aren't those the three main
Yeah.
things?
Yes, absolutely. So maybe I'm going to take a really quick break, and then if we can just kind of go back through some of those. We started with the first one, but the other ones I think are also so very important, because a lot of times people just pass over them. So let's jump back really quickly to get a couple announcements, and then we're coming right back with Lester and Donetta Robben. I want to remind everybody that we're listening to our fall carathon, Light in the Darkness. Call 785-621-4110 if you would like to partner with us and shine the light in the darkness. You know, there's a lot of people out there that the darkness in their lives, it may be the death of a loved one. It may be that they're struggling with suicidal thoughts. It may be that they have anxiety, fears, worries, whatever it is. There's a lot of darkness out there that is not even personally caused, but is caused by other things. And this gospel message is going to be what's going to help people through that. Whether someone's driving down I-70, getting ready to go out onto the farm, whatever it is, we are able to get to many of those dark places through the 5 stations that we have. We have Lester and Donetta in here with us. They're the ones who said yes to God, got this thing up and going. So please help us continue on this mission. Call 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. Let's use up some of those matching funds right now. 785-621-4110. And let's get right back to Lester and Donetta Robben talking about shining the light in marriage. Okay, so we talked a little bit about the first one, that you need to be prepared, which I think maybe we could say even a little bit more, that one of the things that's a horrible scourge on our society today is pornography.
Oh, yes.
Definitely.
And that's one of those things too, that if you're mired in that, that is a huge impediment to being able to properly be married. Did you want to say anything on that point?
Yes, because every time you will come together in the marital embrace, you have other images in your mind.
Mhm.
It's tough to get past. Once those images are there, it's tough to get past those images.
Yeah.
You have to really work on it.
And the good Lord does warn us about
Yes.
this. You know?
Yes,
Yes.
yes, he does. I mean,
So-
and nowadays it is so prevalent. It's
Mhm.
it's on your phone. I mean, it's everywhere. Commercials, billboards everywhere. It's
Yes.
everything is sexualized. To sell something or whatever, and so it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So
So I think, yeah, the proper, once again, preparing for that is that there are lots of good materials out there, lots of good Catholic programs that can help people through that. And to know this is a sacrifice I need to make so that my marriage doesn't fall apart.
And it comes to you uninvited. I mean, I get emails all the time. And it's like, don't open this. This isn't, I don't know who this is. It doesn't look right. It's a yucky picture. Just delete. It's frustrating. And it's happening to our kids so young. That's what makes my heart so sad.
Yeah.
I think it's probably more prevalent among men because men are so visual about everything, and I'm sure it affects women too. The
Yeah,
same,
it does.
but I think it's a lot more. I think the women are gaining ground on that.
Yeah.
Coming up.
And so unfortunately, that's not a good thing.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, it's gaining ground in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly.
But it goes both ways.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that. I think we'll also then maybe we can start looking at what are those other promises that we make when we're standing at the altar. I know you mentioned them, but what was the second one that you brought up?
The loving and honoring part that I said works until you have your first
There
marriage.
you
right?
go.
Well, they say money is one of the big arguments in marriage. So I would say, please talk about it before you get married. Like, what is your budget going to be like? Who's going to be in charge? And
I think the marriage prep is a lot better about that
Yeah.
too, going through those steps and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what have you guys found in your own marriage? I mean, you said you've got rules of engagement, which is that's great. So if you don't mind sharing with us, what are some of your own rules, or what have your rules been? How have they maybe even evolved over time to say, if we come into a difficult situation, this is what we're going to do to be able to get through it together?
One of the things we do is, we've learned is that you have to listen to the other person. Another thing, and we still do this at times, your voice.
We're not perfect.
No, we're not perfect by any means. Naturally, you defend your point, and your voice gets louder right away. And it's like, okay, I can hear you. You don't have to yell, So you just have to keep your emotions on a level keel, whatever, and be willing to listen to the other point of view.
And if you have to go somewhere, like, I'm just not going to deal with this right now.
Walk away,
come back later. Because sometimes you just need to process it.
Yeah. And a couple things on that. Very, very good advice. Because I also fight the same things. A lot of times we're about 3 years old in our mentality when it comes to an argument. You're like, wow. You look back later and you go, that was very not grown up. So, that's one of the things is be able to see the immaturity in yourself and grow and be like, okay. But also very good advice there, I think, Donetta, that, if you need to, just tell them I'm having a difficult time dealing with this right now. I want to talk about this, but I just can't right now. I'm not going to see it in a proper light. So I need a little bit of time. But that goes back to that communication thing. And everybody kind of knows this, but if you could shed some light on communication, what does it look like? How important is it? Why is it important to rules of engagement and things like that?
Well, it's very important. That's a critical point in any relationship. I mean, not just marriage and friends and even raising children and everything else, communication is very important.
It's part of respecting each other too.
Definitely. I agree with that.
I think we can take some lessons from our society. If we're looking out there and we're like, okay, out of the stuff that I observe and the human interactions I notice between other people, here's what I see doesn't work. And especially if you see anything on social media, I see a lot of people shouting past one another. And they may actually have some common ground, but they're so busy, like you said, Lester, defending their point that a lot of times you don't understand that this person actually, we have a lot in common here. And we're just talking past each other because we don't want to hear each other's point. So how important is that then when it comes to marriage to be able to see that and understand we can't talk past one another because this won't be healthy for our marriage?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, we've learned that over the years too. I mean, but we've had some pretty good discussions, I would say. But I think a lot of it, like she said, is respect. That I respect her point of view. I mean, she came from a different family, raised different than I was. She just looks at things differently than I do. And so I have to respect that. And then I might try and win her over to my side, and not by bullying her or towering over her, but in a loving way, give her my point of view and why I think this might work better.
Yeah.
Well, you would think both of us were raised in large Catholic families, so we should come together and make this work, right? But there's like my family was just so loving. I never saw my dad without a hug, and his family love was understood.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. There was no hugging and kissing and whatever. Like, you
Okay.
just, I never heard my dad say he loved me once until he was on his deathbed.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's when he realized, what life was about, or what came to that conclusion, or maybe
Yeah.
thought I need to tell him, he needed to say it. But it's like I said, I felt loved. It was just understood. They just
Okay.
weren't that way. They weren't, and we noticed that even when we had our kids, and go over and see mom and dad, whatever, and mom wasn't a real loving, caressing, huggy type person, even to
Yeah.
the babies. She just, it wasn't her style. She did what needed to be done, took care of us, growing up and stuff, but there wasn't a lot of affection, touchy-feely affection anyways.
Okay.
So it was totally different. And her family was just totally the opposite.
Okay.
So it's like,
So,
I need that.
but I could respect that. And I like her style better. I'm all on board with that,
So
Yeah.
over the years,
Oh yeah. I like that better. I know that's the way I want it to be. I mean, everybody's different.
okay.
But, and I think as far as my family, they were raised in the Depression, tough old Germans, and that's just the way it was. You work hard,
Uh-huh.
do this and whatever. Did what you had to do.
So what you're kind of getting at, and I'm going to say this, that it's not the end all be all, but anybody who has learned about the love languages,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That's so important, because that's basically what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
This is how Donetta feels most loved. And so that's not how I feel most loved. But if I want to build up my wife, then I need to sacrifice a little bit, and she's going to need a hug once in a while.
That's not a problem.
Okay, that's not a problem
Yeah,
anymore.
I was willing to go over to that side, and I was probably leaning more that way already
It
than I
was-
was raised.
It was a little uncomfortable, I'd say,
Yeah.
in the very beginning. It's just like, I want to hold your hand. It's
Yeah.
No PDA, honey. That's great.
What, going back a little bit about couples living together, sometimes they feel like they have to have this buildup of a household before they can get
Mhm.
married. I have to have money in the bank. We have to have,
Be financially set enough.
items, material items. We didn't have anything.
We
We
started
didn't
with
even have a
little,
TV.
18
when
and 20. Yeah, we didn't have a TV. We had nothing. I had a
Our
car. She had
landlord-
a set of pots and pans.
our
Wow.
And we got
landlord
married,
gave us a
you know.
TV to watch because they felt kind of sorry for us. And then when we were just really saving to get a house or to get a down payment for a house, and when we moved out, we didn't have furniture. I think our landlord gave us our first couch. Here,
Might
you can
have,
just
yeah.
take the couch.
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
We didn't need new fancy stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
back then they didn't have all the thrift shops and things like they do now so much. But you could, go to garage sales, whatever, and pick up things pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So
it
we
was
started, but we were perfectly, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
That built a real bond there too, that we had to struggle together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then now, after 50 years, it's like everything we have, we've done together. It's just we need to be proud of ourselves for this.
Mhm.
That is a
I
really
guess,
great point. No, go ahead.
I just wanted the young couples to know that you don't need everything. It's fun to build
To
together.
grow together. Yeah.
I'm so
Build
glad
your
that you
house up.
bring that up. That is a very, very important point. And I've asked couples this before who have said, well, you ask them, what is your plan for having children? Because that's a really, really big question. In fact, I remember when my wife and I went through marriage prep, we went to a marriage weekend or an engagement weekend. And that's what every couple has to go through. That's part of the process. And I think it's a wonderful thing that our diocese does that. Couples need it. But I distinctly remember my wife and I seeing another couple, and the girl came out of their visitation together, because you would sit down, you would write on a specific topic, then you'd go together and talk about it. And we saw her just bawling. And this girl was bawling because her and her fiance that she was getting ready to get married to, they had never talked about having kids. And I can't remember which way it was, probably her, but one of them wanted kids. The other one wanted nothing to do with kids. And this is an integral part of being married, as we're talking about, that you profess that you will lovingly accept children from God. And so, here's this young lady who's getting ready to get married and has just found out, my spouse doesn't want children. How do I deal with this? So thank you so much for bringing that up, because that is so important. I'm going to take a really quick break, and then we're going to jump right back into that topic. You are listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Care-a-thon, Light in the Darkness. We're having a wonderful conversation with Lester and Donetta Robben. They are the founders of Divine Mercy Radio. And so this is a blessing to have them in here for that, a blessing because they've been married for 50 years. But we're taking a really quick break to do our second trivia question. So, Lester, do you want to read this one also? All right. We had a winner right away on the last one. Call 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. If you get this right, we will put your name in the drawing at the end of the day for that gift certificate to Messenger Traditional Catholic Books and Gifts. Here is your question.
Question is, which of these was not an apostle? Was it A, Stephen, B, Peter, C, Paul, or D, Matthew? Which of these was not an apostle? Stephen, Peter, Paul, or Matthew?
785-621-4110. Let's get those lines ringing. That's the same number that you call to make a donation. Remember, we did start today with matching funds of $28,348. Let's go get that ball rolling right away. Let's shine that light into the darkness. There are plenty of souls out there that need to hear it. If you're listening now, you're one of them. I'm one of them. Let's keep these radio waves going. 785-621-4110 to make your pledge. All right, we are talking with Lester and Donetta Robben about shining the light in marriage. So we left off, and you were talking about couples who think they need everything before they get married. And I thank you so much for that, because as I was saying, I've asked couples this before when they say, well, you know, we're going to get set before. And so if you start asking questions, you really see people kind of go back on their feet a little bit like, huh? Because if you ask, well, what does that mean? Well, I think we're going to have a house, maybe a car. I'm like, okay, so what amount of money, how set do you need to be before you're ready for kids? Well, we both want to be out of school. We want to make sure that we have the house paid off. Like, okay. And what generally happens, according to the knowledge that you guys have, what happens in that situation?
They never are ready for children.
Exactly.
They never, ever have enough money.
Yeah.
They never have enough.
No.
Yeah.
And that's part of having kids is nobody's ever ready.
Yeah.
Get over yourself.
Exactly.
It just works. I think when we bought our house, it was a little over a year after we were married.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was pregnant with our first one, and I didn't have a washer or dryer. And his dad says, you guys need a washer and dryer. And it's like, well, the laundromat's working. You know? But he goes, no, you're going to have a baby. You need a washer and a dryer. And he saw one at an auction, and he says, I'm going to buy this for you, and you can just pay me back when you can because you need a washer and a dryer. And I thought, you know, after we got it, it's like, yeah, this comes in
pretty nice. Boy, we paid that off in a hurry because I didn't want to owe my dad anything.
But I mean, he was wise in that respect. But we never asked for anything. We just, you know, it just worked.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have things hanging on the wall for the first year we bought our house, but we had a baby. And we were
happy. That's the thing. We were happy. We really felt blessed. I mean, to be that young, you know, by then, I mean, she was 20 when we had our first child, you know, and to have a house and everything. And it's like, I know we were in debt up to here, but, you know, that's just life.
Well, thank you for that. And what do you guys think it taught you to really, I mean, the way that you guys are explaining it, you really didn't have anything. Yeah, I mean, most people will be like, especially in today's world, they're listening to this, and probably the young folks that are listening to this are like, wait a minute, you didn't have a TV or a washer and a dryer? You know, those are pretty much every home has it. Yes, we still have laundromats, but
staples,
pretty much everybody that's listening right now is being like, there's no way I would start a family without all three of those.
Yeah.
So what things do you think it taught you guys to be able to come from that situation of, no, we really didn't have anything. We were in debt, but we had pledged our lives together.
That's right. We were in love. You can live on love.
It doesn't pay the bills, but
doesn't pay the bills. But we were happy. You know, it was
at that time. I don't think we knew we were without. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Well, I mean, I think we were kind of raised that way. I mean, my family. I mean, there were 7 of us, and my dad worked. My mom stayed home, and he didn't have any big, high-paying job. Mm-hmm. And looking back on it, I would say we were probably poor. But I mean, we had meals, we had clothes, we had a house, we had everything we needed. We didn't know we were poor. We had fun.
Yeah.
You know, you play games, do things. You did things that didn't cost money. We didn't take big vacations or anything, but that was just life.
Yeah.
So I guess when we started, we didn't expect that we had to have everything, you know, have this, the moon and the stars. We had each other, and and we'll just build and grow with that.
Yeah. Well, that is awesome. One quick break. I
Sure.
hate to have to break in,
No.
but it's a good reason.
Yes.
So I want to congratulate Cyril Chancellor. This is fantastic. The Chancellor family has been slaughtering these questions all week long. So fantastic. Thank you so much for listening to us, for supporting us. So Cyril, we will put you into that drawing for later today. The question was, which of these was not an apostle? And the correct answer there is Stephen. So Saint Stephen is actually the first martyr. So very good job on that, Cyril. We'll get you put in that drawing. You're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. Please call 785-621-4110, just like Loretta Kermer did. She called and pledged $100, says she loves all the interviews and has been enjoying Lester and Donetta this morning. So thank you very much, Loretta, for listening. Thank you for donating. And with our matching funds, that becomes a $200 donation. All right, Loretta got the ball rolling. Let's keep those phones ringing. Let's keep shining a light in the darkness. 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. We want to get right back to talking with Lester and Donetta Robben, and we are discussing shining the light in marriage. So we left off on a very wonderful point that we don't have to have everything. And if we think we have to have everything before we have kids, then it's likely that it's either never going to come or it's going to be very late. In fact, Donetta, you would know this. Now, I don't like the term. They call it geriatric pregnancy. I'm like, seriously, you can't come up with a better term than that. But advanced maternal age is at what age? Do you know?
Well, I was always told that your 20s are your most fertile years.
They are. And so they consider 35 to be advanced maternal age anymore. And now what we're seeing is a lot of people aren't actually having children till they're about 30 years of age. And so what we're seeing then is, yeah, like you said, the most fertile years of your life have now gone by, and now you're trying to play catch up. And obviously children are a blessing. You know, the catechism tells us that they're a gift. Mm-hmm. They're not a right. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of those things that, when we're pledging this at the altar and we're saying we will lovingly accept children, then that's something that we need to let God plan and be in communion with him in saying, okay, when do you want this to happen?
Right. Yeah. That's why you need to go to the altar before you live together. I just think, you know, God had a great plan for marriage and family. And I just think as society, we blew it. And, you know, the accepting and raising children from God, and how does that work? Well, Lester and I talked about it. Should we tell our story or not? You know, because we were married at 18 and 20, and we only have 2 children. I said, our sin is out there. You know, birth control was just coming in the late 60s and 70s when we were married in 75. And my mother told me, don't take those birth control pills, you know, and I had a baby, and then about 18 months later, I was pregnant again. And our doctor was so mad that I got pregnant so close to each other. And he said that, well, I had C-section. I had a C-section. He says, you're just going to ruin your body because you're having 2 C-sections and the scar tissue isn't even healing, and you're having another baby. And at that time, when you had a C-section, you stayed in the hospital 7 days. Wow. And he had me taking birth control pills before I even left the hospital.
Wow.
So you can tell what happened because I'll cry.
Well, then, I mean, her body never got back to normal. I mean, her hormones and everything were out of whack because of taking birth control pills. And she just went in, she had the baby blues big time. I mean, she was depressed. She couldn't feel love for our second child and everything. And one night I woke up and she was gone. And it's like, where's she at? I looked all over the house, thought maybe she's with the kids or something. And she was gone. And she had just walked out of the house and just felt like she wasn't needed, or, she was just so depressed.
Oh my.
And then we just decided that, and I guess we did together, decided, I can't do this. We can't go through this again with every child.
If this is what having children is going to do to you, we can't have any more children.
Yeah.
But we didn't know it was the birth control pills till later when we understood everything.
And that's
because I've
probably
never been depressed since. So it's not that I have a history of depression or I get depressed. But now when I think back on it, I think, my mother told me not to take him. And I even went into confessional and said, my doctor tells me I should take him. And and the priest even said it was okay if the doctor says it's okay. But inside of me, I knew my mother was right. So I shouldn't have taken him, but I did. Anyway, I was so convinced that my family was better off without me.
Wow.
That I thought I could run away and they'd be better off. And I was walking through a field and it was night, dark. And I was just thinking.
She walked over to her brother's house. That's where she went.
I wasn't planning on going to my brother's house. I was walking through a field and I was hoping a snake would bite me so I wouldn't have to kill myself. But the depression was real. And, I used to lay next to my daughter and think, why can't I feel love? And now that I think about it, I love her so much that it just totally breaks my heart that I even had that feeling.
Wow.
But so please do not take birth control pills. They really mess you up.
Yeah. One of the things, thank you so much for being so open with our audience. And I know that's not easy to do, but what a blessing of a witness you are for our listening audience. And I do want to say that, this is one of those things, unfortunately, it hit the United States and the Western world, like a bomb, and everybody thought it was going to be this great thing. Many people within even Catholic hierarchy were, pushing Pope Paul VI to come out and say it was okay to use this. Luckily, through his wisdom, he came out and wrote Humanae Vitae. And so people can look that up. We won't go into that. But I just want to say that, over the years, we have seen that. We've understood that, no, this isn't good for women's bodies. It's not good for their psyche. It's not good for anything. And we have a wonderful doctor, Dr. Amy Hogan, over in Salina. She's a supporter.
Now.
Oh, yeah. She's a supporter of our station. She's been on the One Body Show. And we actually, my wife and I attribute several of our children to her intercession because of some fertility issues we had, and they wouldn't be here without her. And so there are people out there that are able to actually take a God-centered view of women's bodies and say, no, this is what's going on.
Right.
It's not a scourge.
She gets to the root of the problem and helps you solve that.
She doesn't want to just put a Band-Aid on it.
Throw pills at you or whatever.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
So,
but we're talking about, our journey here, and we've reflected on, and I've, been through men's groups and things like that. And the topic has come up, what's your biggest regret in life? And mine was definitely not having more children.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, God made women to want children, so when my hormones and everything was back to normal and I was off that stuff, I wanted more children. It's what our hearts desire to be moms, and I don't know, it affects marriage then, because it just does. I was collecting dolls.
That's right. I forgot that stage. I forgot that stage.
Come on.
But I think that God, we confess this, and I think God saw the sorrow in our hearts, and He gave us other things to do.
He's blessed us. Yeah.
I was the executive director of the Mary Elizabeth Maternity Home. So there's babies there. And, my brother's wife died early, so we helped him with his 3 children. And I just think He gave us other things to satisfy that need or,
Well, what a wonderful
God had a
witness.
different plan on that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being so open with us. I want to remind people that as we're talking with Lester and Donetta here, and they're really bearing their souls for us, they're doing that because as we have our fall carathon Light in the Darkness, I know that there are other people out there listening that have dealt with the same issues or are maybe going through the same issues now. And that's one of the points we want to make is that there are people you can go to, find a Catholic fertility specialist. I know there are great people in Nebraska. I know Dr. Amy Hogan, like I said, has helped us. There are people out there that can give you a God-centered Catholic way to move forward, especially if you're having fertility problems. But even if you don't, just to know what your body is supposed to do and be able to follow that instead of just take the pill, just take the pill, just take the pill. And that's unfortunate because that's what our society has gotten to. Everybody wants everything easy. Everybody wants everything perfectly planned. And the beauty of marriage and children are sometimes there is beauty in chaos. It's just like, if our lives were just lockstep every moment, that's actually kind of boring. The beauty of it is that sometimes there are unknowns and you got to work through those unknowns. So I want to remind everybody that you're listening to Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. We're having a wonderful conversation here. Please help us to continue shedding the light in the darkness to so many people out there who need it. If you're one of those people, we ask that you would prayerfully consider joining us. Prayerfully consider donating and helping us to help others. 785-621-4110. That's 785-621-4110. Also, if you're one of those people out there listening and you're going through this, know that our prayers are with you. Please pray for us that this continued mission of sending the gospel out there will be blessed by God, and that we will be able to do everything we need to help those most in need. We want to get right back to Lester and Donetta Robben talking about shining the light in marriage.
One of the things I'd like to say is marriage and family is sacrificial, and that needs to be taught in marriage prep.
Yep.
Because having a large family isn't going to be easy. There's 2 or 3 kids in diapers at the same time. And there's endless laundry. You just get done with one meal, you got to do another meal, and kids are sick at night, and there's sleeplessness, and you got to keep going. And I realized my mother, after my mother's death, and we were all sitting in her apartment living room, and my oldest brother was going over things, how we were going to take care of what was left. I realized that what our parents left us wasn't anything material like. It was each other.
Yeah.
As siblings, that's what they left us, was each other.
That is a beautiful
and I
testament.
Thought, I didn't do that to my kids or my kids.
Well, at least they aren't only child. They have each other, and we have 6 grandchildren. So we've been blessed. But
yes, I mean, we have been. But I just, think about that.
Yeah.
When you're going through all these struggles with a big family, it's tough, but you're leaving the greatest gift to your kids.
Absolutely. And maybe we can move from there and go a little bit into what are some of the beautiful things you guys have seen in being blessed with children by God just throughout your marriage?
Every stage of it has been great. I mean, I look back on raising our kids from little on up. Every minute of it was great. I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Every age is fun. They always say, "Oh, the terrible twos" or something like that. It's like, no, they weren't. That was a joy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just part of it. And so I feel very blessed.
I stayed home for a few years, and I remember you were delivering mail, and you'd come home, and when you came home after work, Josh was at that front door, just "Daddy's here, Daddy's here," and you said that was the most fun thing is Daddy's here.
Yeah, that was exciting. Yeah.
And sometimes if you came home for lunch, he would try to take your clothes and put them on.
Yeah, he put my jacket on. We took a picture of me. He had my hat on and a jacket, and it's hanging to the floor on him. He's so small.
He wanted to be like his daddy. It was just
those are just precious moments,
like that.
I'm sure you see that all the time with your children. Yeah.
And as you brought up, you're never going to look back on however many children God blesses you with and be like, well, I wish we would have had one less. Like that.
Really?
I've never known anybody to say that, and if they did, oh boy,
Yeah.
you must be in a really tough spot.
But my
Yeah.
mother said some were easier to love than others.
Well, now that's true, maybe. They all get the love they need. Sometimes it just takes a little more. So then, we do have about 9 or 10 minutes left here. If maybe we want to start giving some more advice. You guys have been married for 50 years. So you've been through the highs, the lows. You are grandparents now, some of the beauty maybe you see there, and anything else you think that would be wonderful for those contemplating marriage, just married. You guys are able to give us the whole view of it.
One thing I'd like to emphasize is that marriage is a sacrament. And what is a sacrament? It's an outward sign of God's grace, right? So we wanted sacrament on our tombstone. We already have our tombstone, but we said,
beautiful.
Not united in marriage or married on such and such a date. We wanted to say united in the sacrament of marriage, because it was that sacrament that held this marriage together. It was that grace from God.
Yeah.
Yeah, God definitely has to be the center of it all. I mean, we have, and this was hard for me, I think for both of us probably, is to really incorporate praying together into our lives, But now it comes a lot easier. This morning before we came to the studio here, we said a prayer together, that God would speak through it, use us, whatever, to get out what needs to be said or whatever that might help some other couples or whatever. And so God is in the center of our life.
There was one point, because we were married in 75, so things were a little different, 60s and 70s were a little wild. But there was at one point that we were the only married couple left on the block.
Oh, wow.
All our friends were getting divorced, and they had children. And we said, and one would take one child and one would take another. We said, how can they do this? We can never do this. We said, we kind of made a pledge then. And so I just want to say divorce isn't fun, and it hurts. And I think I read something not long ago that said, if you just wait 5 years, you'd be happier in your marriage than if you got divorced. Now, abuse and things like that are probably a little different situation, but you think it's going to be greener on the other side, and it isn't always.
Yeah.
So.
And it is very harmful to children. Every study that you look at will tell you that children with a known mother, known father, living in that nuclear family, that is the best that child could have if you want them to be a productive member of society. Even if you're not just looking at the spiritual side of things, if you just want to look at what creates a productive member of society, that's still the best way to do it. Then if you look at what does God want, God made us so that the two shall become one.
Yeah. And we were talking through our lives. There were like 4 couples that were near divorce that we went and visited with, and then they ended up staying together. So,
oh, great. Yeah.
God used us in that way, I guess.
Yeah, that is wonderful. So what other advice would you have for the young people out there today?
Well, it's easier to probably have sex than it is to pray together. So you need to learn to pray together. And if you keep God, my advice is if you keep a strong prayer life with God, it's going to affect your marriage.
Yeah.
It flows over. So you can't do it alone. You have to have the Lord in your marriage too. So I think talking about religion and faith and how you're going to practice that before you're married is a huge thing.
Yeah, very good for bringing that up. This is actually a question that I ask a lot of couples, especially if they're living together. Say, do you pray together? And you're right on point. It is much easier for them to wink than it is for them to say, hey, you want to say a rosary together? And I've asked them, I said, why is that? And I said, why is it more difficult to pray than to do what you guys are doing? And they're kind of like, I don't know. It just seems awkward.
It does at first. I agree.
I agree too.
Yeah,
I remember when my wife and I first started praying, you're right. There is that, but we got to get over that awkwardness and understand we're inviting the Lord into our marriage, which is what we promised we would do anyway.
And it will be more intimate. Your marriage will be more intimate. Yeah.
Yeah, we just about every time we go somewhere in the car, I mean, not across town, but and I don't know how we always pray a rosary in the car. That's just part of it.
Yeah.
The day we try to pray a rosary every day.
Yeah. And when you go to bed at night, make prayer the last thing you do.
Yeah.
Or I love you, honey.
Yeah. That's good too.
Yeah.
All right. We've got about 3 minutes left here.
All right.
What are the last few things we've got to impart?
I had just a few words I thought that that I would say about marriage and everything, advice that I would give after 50 years. It isn't a 50-50 partnership. It's 100%, 100%. You got to give all you have to your partner, and that's what's going to make it work.
Yeah.
It's not a voting thing or whatever. All right. And the most important words I could say is I love you and I'm sorry. And it's a lot easier to say I love you than it is to say I'm sorry.
It's very true.
But that's and it took some years to get used to saying that too, because saying I'm sorry doesn't mean you're a failure or anything. It just means I'm sorry. I messed up. I shouldn't have done that. I hurt you, whatever it was. So those words are very important. I'm sorry.
And when you get to our age at 50 years, I mean, it's so relaxed and maybe, the marriage embrace isn't like it was when you were first married, but the love is so much deeper. I can't explain it, but the love is just deeper.
And I think this is maybe because you understand what love is. And that's another thing that our world has destroyed is the proper understanding of love, not the ishy squishy feeling.
I agree. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what else do you have for us?
Okay. And I just said, be thoughtful, be kind and considerate. And Donetta had written on her, keep your relationship with God strong and it will keep your marriage strong.
Absolutely. Donetta, do you have any final thoughts for us?
No, I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm
glad we have good marriage prep. Is that across the board for the diocese? I don't
Yeah.
know because.
Yes. So each parish can decide to some degree what their marriage prep is going to be like, but you do have to, one of the things that I think is beautiful in the Catholic Church, you have to make first connection 6 months before your wedding, and so that's important. And then the marriage prep program you go through, it'll either be through a marriage couple or here in Hayes, we do our marriage prep through, I'm the one who does it at St. Nick's. I believe that St. Joseph's and Immaculate Heart, I believe it's the priests that walk people through marriage prep. And so that is talking about finance, talking about sexuality, talking about friends, family, discipline. You talk about there's an not an essay, but a questionnaire that has about 150 questions. Now, don't let that scare you because it's a good thing. Because like I said earlier, some of these couples have never talked about this stuff, and it forces you to have to look at one another with another person in the room and be like, what are we going to do when this happens? And then also we make our couples go through that marriage preparation weekend, which was hugely healing and inspirational to my wife and I. So they have a lot of preparation they'll go through before they make it to that day. Now, nobody's ever completely ready, but it will get you as ready as possible to say the big things we've talked about. We know at least what our plan is.
Yeah, I was thinking when we went through marriage prep, we were kind of disappointed in the whole process. We were so disappointed that a couple of years later, our parish started the couple thing where couples could help do marriage prep, and we signed up and we helped other couples.
That's awesome.
We did that because we wanted them to have a better experience than we did.
So. Yes. Well, Lester, Donetta, thank you so much. Do you want to put a plug in real quick?
I do. Thank you to all our donors and our listeners. Thank you. I know not everybody can probably give, but you're growing by listening to this radio station. And Cody, thank you for your time, and the staff is doing a good job. And we've been praying for you all, and it's more fun on this end to just listen.
God bless you.
Yeah. I say ditto to everything she said. Just thank all of our listeners. And like you said, if you can't help us financially, just pray for us. We are based on prayer. We start every board meeting with prayer. We started this morning with prayer. prayer is a big part of this.
I had a ladies group praying for us before we ever applied for a license. So
fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Lester and Donetta. Wonderful conversation. Have a blessed day, and thank you for praying for us.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
We were listening to Lester and Donetta Robben, our founders, here on Divine Mercy Radio's Fall Carathon, Light in the Darkness. You're listening to 101.7 KJDM at Lindsborg, Salina, 105.7 KMDG Hayes, 88.1 KRTT Great Bend, 88.1 KVDM Hayes, 89.1 KGOH Colby, and 107.3 K297 AI Hill City. We are getting ready to bring in Christian Lutz and Corey Munch. They're going to be talking about the role of grace in helping us in dark or despairing times. We're then going to hear from Jerry Hughbanks and Megan Robel on meeting needs.